Welcome to Shivering Hours, where the shadows stretch long and the whispers never fade. Tonight, we step into the chilling unknown with the story of the silent caller. Private investigator Amanda Harris doesn't believe in ghosts. But when a desperate woman calls for help from a decaying farmhouse in Hollow Creek, Amanda is drawn into something far more sinister than she ever imagined. A call for help, or something much worse. Turn down the lights, put on your headphones, and prepare yourself, because once you answer the silent caller, there's no turning back. This is part 1. Let's begin.
There's an old saying that the scariest thing in the world is silence, when it's the only thing you hear. But sometimes silence is not the absence of sound. It's the space where something far more terrifying waits. Amanda Harris didn't believe in things like ghosts or the supernatural. She was a rational woman, focused on her career as a private investigator. No nonsense, no time for superstition. But when she took on a new case in the sleepy town of Hollow Creek, she would find herself questioning everything she thought she knew. It all started with an innocent call, or so she thought.
Amanda Harris?
A woman's voice had asked, cracking through the static on the other end of the line.
Yes, this is she.
I need your help.
The woman said. Her voice sounded distant, almost as if she was speaking from the other side of a thick, foggy wall.
I think someone is watching me.
Amanda had heard stories like this before. People often felt paranoid, imagining things. But the tone in the woman's voice, trembling yet desperate, made her hesitate.
Where are you?
Amanda asked, already grabbing her jacket, ready to take the case.
I'm in Hollow Creek.
The woman replied. The line went silent for a moment, then she added,
The old farmhouse near the edge of town. You'll find me there.
Before Amanda could respond, the call ended with a sharp click. T-Hat was the first call. Amanda had been to Hollow Creek once or twice. It was the kind of place people passed through without stopping. Quiet, forgotten by time. There was only one road into town, and at night it seemed as if the whole town disappeared under the cover of darkness. Arriving at the farmhouse, Amanda was greeted by an eerie stillness. The house itself was in disrepair, the wood weathered and rotting, windows boarded up with old planks. There was no sign of life, no movement behind the windows. It looked abandoned. She knocked, but no one answered.
Hello?
She called, stepping back slightly, scanning the area. There was a strange heaviness in the air, like the house itself was holding its breath. The door creaked open, just a crack, as if beckoning her inside. Amanda pushed the door gently, the wood groaning under her weight. The interior was cold, damp, and smelled faintly of mildew. Dust had settled on every surface, and the silence was unnerving.
Hello?
She called again. Her voice bounced off the walls, then faded into nothingness. She took a step further, feeling the chill creeping along her skin. Her flashlight cut through the darkness, illuminating old, tattered furniture. The house felt lifeless, as if time had forgotten it. T-Hen, she heard it. A faint whisper coming from upstairs. Amanda's pulse quickened. She took another step, and then another. Every instinct told her to leave, but something inside told her to keep going. Upstairs, she found a door slightly ajar. The whispering sound grew louder as she approached, now clearer, almost a murmur. She couldn't make out the words, but it was unmistakably a voice. She pushed the door open. The room was bare, except for a lone figure sitting in the corner, facing the wall. She was tall, dressed in an old-fashioned gown, her dark hair cascading down her back like a river of ink. The woman didn't move, didn't even acknowledge Amanda's presence.
Amanda Harris.
The woman's voice came, distorted and hollow, as though it had been stretched across time.
You've come to help me, haven't you?
Amanda froze. How did she know her name?
I don't understand.
Amanda stammered, her breath caught in her throat.
Who are you?
The woman slowly turned her head, and Amanda felt a chill run down her spine. Her face was pale, her eyes sunken and lifeless, and her smile was wrong. It wasn't human. It was as if her lips were frozen in a permanent, painful grin.
You know me.
The woman whispered.
I've been waiting for you. You've been calling me for years.
Amanda took a step back. The air felt thick, suffocating. Something wasn't right. The shadows in the room seemed to shift and pulse, like something was alive in the darkness. The woman stood up abruptly, her body jerking as if moved by invisible strings. Her eyes locked onto Amanda's, and for a moment Amanda saw something. Something that made her blood run cold. A glimpse of the woman's true form, something ancient and terrifying.
Leave.
The woman hissed, her voice cracking.
Before it's too late.
Before Amanda could react, the woman lunged at her. But as she reached out, everything went black. The room, the farmhouse, the very air itself disappeared in an instant. Amanda gasped, her eyes snapping open. She was back outside, standing on the porch of the farmhouse. The door was shut tight. There was no sign of the woman. She stumbled backward, disoriented, unsure of what had just happened.
Was it a dream?
She wondered aloud, her voice shaky.
No, it couldn't have been.
The second she turned to leave, her phone rang. Amanda's heart skipped a beat. She hesitated before answering.
Hello?
Amanda, I told you to leave.
Came the same voice from the phone, the woman from the farmhouse. But this time, there was no static, no distance. It was as if she was standing right behind Amanda. Amanda spun around, but no one was there.
I'm not done with you.
The voice whispered,
We're not done.
and just like that, the call ended. Amanda stood there, the weight of the words sinking in. The terror wasn't over. In fact, it had only just begun. For the first time in her life, Amanda felt the suffocating grip of fear, and it wasn't from a case she could solve or a mystery she could unravel. It was something far darker, something that had been waiting for her to make the wrong move. And now, she couldn't run. The phone call was just the beginning. As the shadows of Hollow Creek loomed around her, Amanda realized the truth. Some things don't let go. As she turned back toward the house, she heard the faint whisper again, growing louder, closer.
You shouldn't have come here, Amanda.
The voice said, echoing in her ears.
You never should have answered the call.
And as Amanda's feet dragged her back toward the farmhouse, she understood. The call hadn't been meant for help. It was a warning. The question wasn't whether she could escape. It was whether there was anyone left in the world to hear her scream.
And just like that, the call ended. But Amanda's nightmare had only just begun. Something is waiting for her in Hollow Creek. Something that doesn't want her to leave. But what happens when the hunter becomes the hunted? If you want to know what happens next, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Shivering Hours, and turn on notifications so you don't miss part 2 of The Silent Caller. And remember, some calls are better left unanswered. Until next time, stay safe and stay scared.